everyone. Okay, so before anything else, we gotta talk about what happens in the back end of this chapter. As while rushing to the basement to save some stragglers, Shin and Asakura come across X, or as we also found his other name to be known as in this chapter, Slur. And yeah, the encounter was as terrifying as you'd imagine it would be, and not just from the amazing shading work on the character on X himself, but as it really captured as in this moment, like Suzuki really captured that this guy is a monster in human form. But the other thing about it as well is that from frame one, before the visual of Shin like seeing himself being killed even fully hits, X X's bloodlust just in him sitting there, like having that shroud of darkness around him. X's bloodlust just becomes apparent in that one frame. It's the kind of bloodlust that just petrifies someone with fear, to where you know Shin breathed a huge sigh of relief when all X did was tell Shin to pass on his message to give his best to Sakamoto. So yeah, the Sakamoto crew, or at the very least Shin, know that X is out there and that he's dangerous. The only question now is, at what point will Shin overcome his fear of the experience to actually tell Taro about X, and that he is someone to be worried about? Because in a way, this encounter also kind of reveals that, yeah, X is definitely someone from Taro's past. The question now is how far into his past and what exactly happened back then is just the question now. In saying all that, though, one thing I really liked about this chapter and ending is how, after Shin meets up with Asakura, they do have the usual awkward exchange between an estranged parent and child. But the more important part of this reunion is how, throughout the rest of the chapter afterwards, is all Shin showing through his actions and not his words to Asakura, of how much Shin has made the clairvoyance his own. It's a part of him, just as much as his body parts are a part of him. And I also like how the only thing Shin didn't need to say to Asakura was reaffirmation that his research was much more useful than he originally believed. Just those words in a way was all Asakura needed to hear to know how much Shin has grown, how much he has moved past what happened between them. And yeah, capping it all off with Asakura officially like awkwardly greeting himself to the rest of Sakamoto's store was just the kind of corny this reunion also needed to be capped off with. And I appreciate the simplicity of the approach to this reunion, even for a reunion of just it just being as casual as it was. Like the drama of this arc was all around the stuff with Kashima and whatnot, so like you don't need to dramatize this reunion either, the reunion between the father and son as much. Even more than that, though, I appreciate how, despite everything this arc threw at us, it still managed to close out in the most believably Sakamoto way possible. Like a family dinner, just seeing the characters interact in their usual dysfunctional family dynamic way, and just it felt like the perfect way to cap this off, and seeing Heisuke just officially join the gang just added to that too. Now, if I Now, I guess if I did have one gripe about this chapter, it would be with Shishiba and Osaragi, and how, at the end of the day, their goal in this whole arc was just to learn about X's identity. That's it. And that's where the buck stopped with their involvement in this arc. But, that's like, it's one of those things that made me say, that's it. That's all you're doing with them right now, Suzuki. But I'm imagining this will also, but I'm imagining this is one of the, but I'm not stupid. I've been around the block with this stuff. I do imagine that this is just a setup that is going to bleed over into other arcs at some point as well. So it will bleed over and will be developed in other arcs as well. So it's just set up for what's going to happen later on. And I guess. But yeah, I think it's the fact that they were only here for that reason is a little annoying to me. But I guess I should be thankful that Suzuki also at least gave them a fight enough of a fight to show what they are capable of and what they can do. And again, I'm imagining this probably won't be the last time the Shishiba and Osaragi cross paths with the Sakamoto crew. That there likely will be more in the future, especially now that it has been like officially affirmed and set in motion that yeah, X and Taro do know each other, and we're gonna see that kind of unravel as the series goes on. Um, I also like how the whole now in saying that I do like how the whole thing with Shin hearing the thoughts of the scientists was brought back as a gag to round things out with them like expressing their gratitude, whereas before it was scorn. Like when you hear Shin like reading their thoughts about how much he's grown or how or that or even saying that really that's as tall as he's gotten kind of thing. Like it's the little things that make it say yeah this was kind of this wasn't this that yeah it's affirmation that he really has grown, all that kind of thing. um and yeah, I do like how yeah and the comedy in this and as a whole, like the comedic moments in this chapter were pretty great to kind of round it off. Especially going back to the to the family dinner scene. I especially like how so easily this despite Lou kind of being mistaken for Shin and getting and Lou being kidnapped got them all roped into this. I do like how at the end of the day they were still able to kind of very easily slip back into the roles of like that sibling kind of dynamic of like of fighting, kind of how of sibling dynamic of how they fight and whatnot, of how they argue and fight with each other. Like just simple things like that really made this chapter work. And I especially love how. And I will admit, for as much as Lou's comedy has been hit and miss for me in this arc, I do admit that final moment of her, that final moment with her reuniting with Shin saying, sorry, I got roped into this kind of thing, all that thing, like, it should be the other way around, Lou, but sure. Yeah, it was just funny. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much all I got for this review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Blue Sky, Analyst, Crunchyroll, Bishin Bell, hit the subscribe button, and just share the video around, guys. Dark Knight of Me, signing off. Later, everyone.